Today we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of self-managing your rental property versus having a management company run everything for you. But before I get into that, I want to show you some of the things that I found. I haven't lived in the area and I've been self-managing my properties myself. And so I've just come back to the house. I haven't seen it in a couple of months. And I want to show you some of the things that you find when you are away and you haven't checked on your property enough times. Problem number one, you pull up and the yard looks horrible. I pay Aero Pest Service to spray the weeds at this house, and I came back to find all these weeds in the yard, and I called them and I said, hey, look, you guys, before I fire you, I want to give you another chance. And the owner of the company said, I'll go there and I'll look at the property myself. And he drove by here yesterday and he looked at this yard and he's like, well, it's really not that bad. And I was like, well, I was on your Facebook page and it said that you give a refund if I'm not happy. And I'm not happy. I shouldn't have to come. Today, I'm dressed like this and I'm doing the video before I get too sweaty because I got to spend all day here pulling weeds. And he gave me a bunch of excuses about, well, it's been rainy. Anyway, the point is, this is the kind of stuff you find when you haven't laid eyes on your property enough times. Like, you need to come at least every 2 or 3 months because these weeds have been growing for months and months. He said, oh, we're not responsible for weeds that are in the sidewalk. We only spray the rocks. I was like, your guy can't have enough pride in his job to spray 1 inch over and get these weeds. I was like, it's ridiculous. So anyway, this is just a quick example of the things you're going to find because people do not care about your property as much as you do. I'm going to show you some more things we found since we've been back, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so clearly the yard guy got fired. Also, our cleaning company also got fired. There was like Kool-Aid dripping down some of the cabinets. The cabinets had dirt and fingerprints. There was grease all up here. You can still see some of it on the ceiling up here. Just sand on the floors, just beds, like different colored bedspreads on the beds. We pay to have white things everywhere and lots of broken things that nobody told us was broken. So we fired the yard guy, we fired the cleaning company. I'll show you the pool in a minute. The pool guy's on the fence. He's trying to get things looking right, but I came here and the pool was green. Again, just all these things that you pay these people for that, so you're not supposed to have these problems. But people do not care about your property as much as you do, so you've got to put eyes on your property. That's the number. If you're going to self-manage and not hire a management company, you've got to get eyes on your property. Even if you have a management company, I would say you're going to have to go every couple months and put eyes on your property to make sure it looks okay. We've just about got the backyard whipped into shape. We spent 2 days out here pulling weeds. So you can see we've got cornhole over here. We got giant Connect 4 over here. We got a couple different seating areas set out. I'm going to put another piece of fake grass over here. I've been having some problems. I've got a grinder pump with the septic tank here, and they've had to access it a couple times, so they've had to dig it up, and you can see there's some rock issues here. So I'm going to put a big piece of fake grass here so that when they need to get in, this table here is covering up the pipe. So when they need to get in here, they'll be able to just pull the fake grass back, dig a hole, pull it, put the fake grass, fill in the hole, put the fake grass back, and I won't have all these spotty issues in the yard with the rocks anymore. I've had the pool guy out here twice, and you can see it doesn't look great yet. And I had a leak detection company out here to see if there was leaks, and they're like, well, we're not sure if this is leaking, and they cemented my pole in. I got to call them and see what's going on with that. But this shower I discovered is not working. Just all these things that you've got to keep up with. So I'll show you a couple quick takes of some of the other problems that we found around the house. And then after I do that, we'll go into my office and we'll talk about the numbers of self-managing versus paying a management company. And we'll see if the money that you save is worth the headache or not. It's going to be up to you, how much money your property makes, how far away you are, what your travel expenses are to get to your property. So I'll run you around, show you a couple of the other little things that I found, and then we'll go into my office and we'll talk about the numbers. Broken, missing board that's supposed to be there. I made these beds, these cool bamboo beds. Apparently someone broke this and threw away the evidence. It's supposed to look like this. And that is the comforter that was on this bed that didn't match. This is a big one. Nobody had been maintaining this. I'm going to take the credit for the error, but there was so much dirt inside of the coils on the inside. I spent 2 hours yesterday scraping it out. You got to get a brush like this, and I have coil cleaner I'm going to clean it with today, but pay somebody to maintain this and change your filters. So after the pool, when you go to the tiki hut. I did not stage this. When I opened the door, this is what I found. When you're a paying guest and you're paying $400 a night to stay somewhere, you don't want the tiki hut to look like this. What is going on? This is just, I mean, it's just pure laziness. So another reason why the cleaning company is fired. So here's how we get to spend our day today. Are you excited about pulling weeds today?
No, it's my least favorite job.
Through the magic of editing, we are back in my office. So let's go over the numbers. We talked about the PIA factor, the pain in the ass factor of running your own property, being your own property manager. So let's look at the numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down two rental properties. I'm going to kind of use a hybrid of my actual numbers and what numbers might look like based on if you had a mortgage on the property. So let's just go get into the numbers. I'll put some numbers over here so you can see them while I talk about them. Let's talk about property number one has a gross income of $70,000. So let's just say it's a property worth around $700,000 using the 10% rule. The mortgage on that property at $2,500 a month, including your taxes and your insurance. That's a $30,000 expense for your mortgage. And then using numbers off of my rental property that's similar to this, the power bill runs about $400 for electric. The water bill runs about $50. The trash is about $50 a month. The Wi-Fi is around $50 a month. So that's a total of $550 per month. So that's another $650 of expenses. And then let's just throw in a random repair number. I'm going to put $5,000 in there for repairs. I pay pool maintenance on my property that's like similar to this. That is $150 a month. So that's another $1,800 a year. And then I pay $100 a month for yard maintenance as well. And that's another $1,200. So that gives you a total for all of your expenses here of $44,500. All right. So let's take our $70,000 of gross income, subtract out the $44,500. That leaves you with a net profit of $25,500. Not too shabby, especially if you have a few of these properties. But what if you pay a property management company? Well, that 20 or 25% fee comes off the top or off of your gross. They don't care how much your mortgage and your expenses and your utility bills are. They take their cut off of the top. So if we took $70,000 at a 20% management fee, that's $14,000 you pay the property manager. So we deduct that from the $25,000 and you're left with $11,500. So what you have to decide here is $11,500 worth the money you have tied up in a $700,000 real estate investment. Granted, you did zero amount of work. So for some people, it's worth it. You're still getting the depreciation. You're still getting the loan payoff. So your $11,500 number is actually a little bit bigger of how much money you're making off of it. But cash in your pocket, that's the actual number. So, you know, when you're looking at managing a property from far away, these are the numbers that you have to look at is what's my actual net. And don't worry about how much you're paying the management company. You know, it's more about the net that you put in your pocket. So with myself, while I was living in the Virgin Islands, I had multiple properties here in Panama City Beach, Florida. So let's just say you have two properties. The numbers, you know, you get some economies of scale for traveling back and taking care of the problems yourself. So with property number two, I have a couple smaller townhouses that I've decided to make the numbers look similar to those. These aren't my exact numbers, but let's say you have a smaller townhouse or that type of a property that's worth about $300,000. And so let's say it grosses $30,000 using that 10% rule. So your mortgage on this property might be around $1,500 a month, $1,500 a month. So that's $18,000 in expenses for your mortgage. The power bill on my smaller unit runs about $200 a month, water about $30, trash about another $30, and the Wi-Fi about $50. So that's a total of $320,000 or $320 per month. That's $4,000 per year. And then we'll throw a $3,000 repair budget on this smaller property. Gives you total expenses of $25,000. So you see you got slimmer margins to work with on these smaller properties. So we take our $30,000 gross, we subtract out our $25,000 of expenses, and you're left with only a net of $5,000 after that. Now, if you're paying a management company on this property, the $30,000, they take their 20% off the top of your gross figures. That's $6,000. So you'd actually have $1,000 loss on this property if you were paying a management company. So that ate all of your profit is gone on these smaller properties like this. So for some people, they just want a rental property that pays for itself, that covers the mortgage and the expenses, and one day they're going to retire to the property. Or they don't want to do any work, and the appreciation and the mortgage pay down and the depreciation on their taxes, that's worth it for them. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your rental properties. I'm trying to accomplish not having a day job and not having to go to work every day. So I need the income from my properties. That's why for me, it's worth it to self-manage these properties. Like I talked about before, the property in Puerto Rico, I do pay a property manager over there, mainly because of the language barrier, checking people in and out and that sort of thing. It's easier for me to have them take care of those issues for me. So with these, when I would fly back from the Virgin Islands to Florida every couple of months, when you have two properties, if you split that expense up, if it cost me $500-600 round trip for a plane ticket, and then I could usually borrow my parents' car when I would come back. I'd fly into Atlanta, borrow their car. But say you had to rent a car, that's another $300. Say it costs you $1,500 every time you fly back, and you fly back every 3 months, so 4 times per year, $1,500, $4,000. That's $6,000 a year in expenses that you'd have to come back or fly down to take care of your properties. So that $6,000 is exactly what you paid on that smaller property. So that one would break even, but when you had the two properties, you had the $14,000 plus the $6,000, that's $20,000 you paid the management company. So if your expenses to fly back and do it yourself were $6,000, that's a $14,000 savings for you. So that's how you kind of look at the numbers to decide if it's worth it or not. The amount of work you put in it, the goals you have for the properties, those are things you have to figure out, my friend, for yourself. So that's my kind of look into having a property management company versus not having a property management company. Obviously, you can see the problems I had with just hiring my own subcontractors, yard people, and that sort of thing. I've also had problems with my management company in Puerto Rico that I hired. We're having a pool put in right now, and we told him he had to cancel a guest because Hurricane Fiona knocked out the hot water heater. It had no water. And then we also had a mess in the backyard with construction, getting the pool put in. And he forgot to cancel them, and we had guests show up in the middle of the night at my house with no water and construction debris everywhere. We've had some complaints about cleaning. So, overall, I think we're happy with them. At this point, we're going to give them a full year after the pool gets put in to evaluate what kind of a job and how much money we actually make with the rental property, having a property manager. But we could go fly down and we could spend a month or two at our house in Puerto Rico, and we already have a handyman, we have an electrician, we have a plumber. The only thing we don't have is a good cleaning crew. If we were able to find a cleaning crew, we could manage that property in Puerto Rico ourselves. My wife is fluent in Spanish, so that is in the cards if we're not happy with the property management, with the property manager after, say a year after we get this pool finished. So stay tuned. We're going to have information on the pool progress coming up very soon. I haven't talked about it yet. The pool is about halfway done getting put in our house in Puerto Rico. So if you're interested to see that progress and how that's going, be sure you stick around. Give me a big thumbs up if you like the information in this video about whether or not to hire a property manager. And if you like this video, go watch this video next. It has more information about how to get into buying your first rental property. If you're just looking to get into the game and you're weighing these options about whether you should have a management company or not, go watch this video. More information on getting started in the rental game. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next video.